the last session we discussed about the overall of the process handling, right, kernel process scheduling and everything. There we discussed few concepts. So now today we going to learn what is the special about the PID one, right? How often process being created and how soon process being created, right? What is that concept and how that works and what is the problem? To understand that, we need to recap and go little deeper than the what we discussed about the process created. Okay, so we learn when we create a process in Linux, how it works is a two-step process. What is the step one? It is create the fork, right? Or we can say clone, right? It's the extended version. The second, it create the exec, right? Where first one, what it does is it just copy the current process into new one, right? That is the way we go little deeper today. And the second one is exec. That means it pointed the new program binary. So now let's assume there is a process which has 100 megabytes heap, right? Let's say 1 GB code space and 500 megabyte stack or something in the process, right? So when we say we copy the parent process, a lot of people start to think that means we take a copy of this to the new process, which is not true. Why? Because if you are trying to do so, it takes a lot of time to create the new process, right? But new process are creating within nanoseconds or milliseconds. So now how this really works is we learn a concept called COW. What that does? What that does? It refer to the read-only file system, and whenever write occurred, it take the copy and update. So I just, when I explained this process last time, I just said this is using something called copy on write, but I didn't explain because that time we were not complete the copy on write. So now since we know that, we can go there. What really happens is when you copy during this fork, right, it copy CPU registers, right, and task struct and open sockets, all those things are copying, right? But if you get the heap, stack, data, right, so those are not doing the immediate copy. Those are not following the immediate copy. There are a few others which I don't remember, right? When I put the video, I'll Google it and I'll find it, put it here, right? CPU registers, task structs, file structs, data structs, those things being copied, and open sockets, all those things. But these are not copying, but it referring to the, it make as a read only and referring to that. If anywhere write occurred, then it take this one, copy and modify. So that is how they achieved very fast process creation time. Okay, very fast process creation time. Heap, stack, data, BSS and codes, right? So these are not copied, but I mean not copied means content are not copied, content are referring, right? So now, however, in the process table, child process get a new PID, right? Child process get new PID. PID is not same for the previous one. It get new PID, right? So now when the process created, this PID need to return to the parent to know what is the child it created. Okay? So that is why we discussed that day, when you copy a process, right, So when you copy a process to child process, the next execution will be same, but it return the child process ID to the parent. So parent can keep a track, I created this process and I am the parent of this, right? So now let's say my process ID is PID is 7230, right? I created new child process, let's say it's 8531. So now for this process, this is the PID, to this process, this is the PPID, parent process ID. Okay, that's the difference between PPID and the PID. If I create a process, it become child process return the PID, that is child's PID is become his child, but for this parents become PPID. Okay, so that is how end of the day this all go to root PID, which is a PID 1. Okay, system D, right? So now if you see here, you can see with this architecture, every process has a parent, except the root process, every process has a parent, right? So when that is why when you create a process, you copy from the parent to the child. You copy from parent to the child, right? This is nothing to do with the Docker. Okay, this is a Linux process cycle. Okay, are we clear? Right? So now we know new two entities. This is we need, right? PID we already knew, but we know something called PPID. Right? So now when you create a process, it copy these CPU registers, task starts, environment variables, open sockets, all those things, and this copy these as well. However, they are not being used. Right? Not being used in the sense content not copied until you trigger a write. So now then what happened? Following this, exec comes, exec do the replacement part, right? This is changing in one place where when it create a container, the child process it created, child process ID become PID 1. However, that is only for the inside the container context. Still, it's a host. As far as host concerned, it is a different PID. Exec execute followed by the fork. What happened? These things are being replaced. You remember that, right? I don't have to explain again. Okay. So this fork is copied, and exec going to replace this completely from. Now tell me this, right? So I have PID 7230. I don't know why I get this number always. Right? I get the PID 7230. It execute the fork, right? So now what happened? It copied CPU registers, environments, task structs, file structs, and heap everything. It's copying, copy, but it's a COW, right? And then what happened? Exec go followed by this, right? What it does? Heap, stack, data, code, all these things will replace by new program binary. Right? So now it's completed. At the end of the fork, right? Not the exec, at the end of the fork, it return PID to the child, parent. Now what happens is, if you get like a PS minus EF forest kind of a command, so what will happen is you will see this coming as a structure, right? So let's say Docker D, and then here container D, from here container shim, from here But when you check these type of low level thing, you need to understand if you are on a Windows or a Mac Docker, right? I'm not sure about the Windows, I never tried it. But if you are running with a Mac, then Docker natively doesn't run on the Mac operating system. Okay, so it is covered by the Mac file system. So you might not see these things. There are ways you can see, right? But there are some other. What we need to do is you need to start other Docker mapping to the host PID, right? Then you can see the information. Now you know when you say mapping to the host PID, it's going to map to the. So when you create the namespaces, it doesn't create the host namespace. Okay, now you know that part. And also sometime you might see based on your distro you are checking, these container this container is originally attached not to Docker D but to the system D. Okay, you might see those as well. Don't get confused, that is because it is different distros and because this is how in theory it is, but practically there can be a different attachment who depend on who create the process, right? It depend on the who created the process. So it is okay if you see, you never see a Docker directly attached to here, but we are going to something adapting, right? So if the process goes often, then system D going to adapt it, right? When there's a child abandoned on the road, so there are bodies to adapt it. Likewise, this is going to adapt. Okay, we are going to discuss that in a while. But this is the process tree. This is happened because of this PID and the PPID mapping. Okay, this is called process tree.